Welcome viewers. This is lecture number 10 of lecture series on real analysis. In this lecture, we are going to discuss some results on convergence sequence. So the concept covered in this lectures are theorems based on convergence sequence. Then we discuss about null sequence and some examples related to null sequence, non-convergent sequence, and then oscillatory sequence. So let us start our discussion with theorems based on convergence sequence. So first theorem, prove that every convergence sequence converges to unique limit. So sometimes this theorem can be asked if the limit of the sequence if exists, then it is unique, or a sequence cannot converges to more than one limit. So let us prove this result. Let the sequence xn converges to two limits l and l dash. हम ये लेके चलते हैं कि सीक्वेंस जो है दो लिमिट पॉइंट को कन्वर्ज कर रहा है l and l dash. It means that is the sequence xn limit n goes to infinity xn equal to l and limit n goes to infinity xn is equal to l dash. We have to prove that l and l dash both are equal. So by definition of convergence sequence, let epsilon greater than 0, take any epsilon greater than 0, however small we fix this epsilon, because xn converges to L. Xn, it is given that xn converges to a number L. So by the definition of convergence, we get this sequence xn converges to L. It means if we take a neighborhood around point L of let it be epsilon by 2, then it is L plus epsilon by 2 and it is L minus epsilon by 2. So what happened? We find out a positive number m1. It means some finite number of terms lies outside the interval x1, x2, x3, and x4, x5, and so on, xm1 minus 1. And जैसे ही xm-1 के बाद xm1 टर्म आई, xm1 it lies in the interval xm1, and after that all the terms xm1 plus 1, xm1 plus 2, and xm1 plus 3, and all the terms lies in this interval. It means if such thing happen, then we can say the sequence converges to the point L. So what happened? What we write here? There exists a positive integer m1 such that for all n greater than equal to m1, mod of xn minus L is less than epsilon by 2. Also, xn converges to L dash. So same thing happen with number L dash also. We take neighborhood around L dash of radius epsilon by 2, L dash minus epsilon by 2, but we maybe this sequence converges after m2 terms, after m2, because the first sequence we get a positive number m1, maybe the same number m1 we get for this sequence xn converges to L dash, or it is different from m1. So if x1, x2, x3, x4, and xm2, these m2 minus 1, these terms lies outside the interval, but xm2, जैसे xm2 आया, xm2 lies in this interval, xm2 plus 1 lies in this interval, and all other terms greater than m1, xm1 lies in this interval. So we can say that this sequence converges to L dash. It means there exists m2 belongs to n such that for all n greater than equal to m2, mod of xn minus L dash is less than epsilon by 2. Now we get two number m1 and m2 for the same sequence x1. So what we do, we try to pick, we take a maximum of m1 and m2. So we take m is equal to maximum of m1 and m2. Now if m is the maximum of both m1 and m2, then it means after mth term, all the terms of the sequence lies in the interval L minus epsilon and L plus L minus epsilon by 2 and L plus epsilon by 2. It means for all n greater than equal to m, xn minus L is less than epsilon by 2 and xn minus L dash is also less than epsilon by 2. So now what we have to estimate? We have to estimate L minus L dash. But we have to prove. We have to prove that L and L dash both are equal. So we have to estimate L and L dash. What is the difference between L and L dash? So if we prove that L and L difference between this is equal to 0, then L is equal to L dash. So now we have to estimate this. So this is, we add xn and subtract xn, and then taking mod xn minus L dash minus xn minus L according to this xn minus L and xn minus L dash, we take the combination of, we combine these terms, and then we get this is less than equal to mod xn minus L plus mod xn minus L dash. And we know that mod xn minus L is less than epsilon by 2. So we put less than epsilon by 2. Mod xn minus L dash is also less than epsilon by 2. So we again put this is plus epsilon by 2. Epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2, this is equal to epsilon. So for all n greater than equal to m, we get mod L minus L dash is less than epsilon, where m is any natural number. Now this implies that L is equal to L dash. Both the numbers are equal. How we can write this? This is by Archimedean property. When we want to show that two real numbers, any two real number A and B are equal, हम कोई दो रियल नंबरों को हमें इक्वल प्रूफ करना है, तो व्हाट वी डू, वी हैव टू शो दैट द डिफरेंस mod of A minus B is less than equal to 1 upon n for all n belongs to natural number. This result is true for all n belongs to natural number. So 1 upon n is greater than 0, because n is greater than 0 for natural number, so 1 upon n is also greater than 0, and here epsilon is also greater than 0. So it means this result, by using this property, if mod of A minus B less than equal to 1 upon n, then we can say both the real numbers A and B are equal. So similarly, we can use that if mod L minus L dash is less than epsilon for all n greater than equal to m, then it is true for all n belongs to natural number. So we can say both the numbers L and L dash are equal. So in this way, in some books it is written that because epsilon is arbitrary small number, so we can take L minus L dash is equal to mod of this is equal to 0, and mod of 0 is equal to 0, it means L minus L dash must be equal to 0. So L is equal to L dash. So you can also prove like this. But by using Archimedean property, we can show that L is equal to L dash. So hence, so this is the, so if a sequence is convergent, then it converges to a unique limit. Theorem, next theorem, every convergent sequence is bounded. जो भी sequence converge करता है वो bounded होगा. Is the converse true? क्या converse इसमें true होगा कि every bounded sequence is convergent? So we have to show that whether the converse is true or not. If not, then we have to justify the answer. We have to give example. So how we can prove what is given? A convergent sequence is bounded. We can take any convergent sequence, then we have to show that this is bounded. So for boundedness, what we have to do? We have to find that the sequence is bounded above as well as bounded below. So, or we have to find an upper bound and lower bound for the sequence. If there exists upper bound and lower bound, then the sequence is bounded. So xn is convergent. Let sequence xn be a convergent sequence, and it converges to real number L, to a point L. Here L is any real number. So since by definition of convergence, we get for any epsilon greater than 0, any epsilon greater than 0, there exists a positive integer m, or we can say m belongs to n, such that for all n greater than equal to m, mod of xn minus L is less than epsilon. we have already discussed about convergent sequence in my previous lecture. So what happened when we say the sequence is convergent? This sequence converges to point L if we take a neighborhood around point L of radius epsilon, L plus epsilon, and L minus epsilon. So a sequence is said to be convergent sequence if some finite number of terms lies outside the sequence x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, and so on, x6, x7, x8, and in the same way xm minus 1. And xm minus 1 term lies outside the interval. But after xm, after m minus 1 term, that is xm terms lies in this interval. Xm plus 1 term lies in this interval. And all the terms after this xm plus 2, xm plus 3, xm plus 4, and so on. All the other terms lies in this interval. Then we say that the sequence is convergent sequence. Now, yes, so xn minus L is less than epsilon for all n greater than equal to. Or we can say all the terms xn. अब सारी की सारी xn देखो कहाँ लाई कर रही हैं, L plus epsilon और L minus epsilon में. लेकिन क्या सारी टर्म लाई कर रही हैं? No. After mth term for all n greater than equal to m, xn lies between m और m के बाद की टर्म ही इसमें लाई कर रही है. तो we can write कौन सी x सीक्वेंस की कौन सी टर्म इस इंटरवल में लाई कर रही है, फॉर ऑल n ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू. तो कितनी टर्म इस सीक्वेंस के बाहर है? नाउ इस सीक्वेंस के बाहर जो टर्म्स है वो कौन कौन सी है? अगर मैं उसका सेट कंस्ट्रक्ट करूं तो सीक्वेंस के बाहर की जो टर्म है वो है x1, x2, x3, x up to xm minus 1, xm minus 1. Now we have to find an upper bound and lower bound for this sequence. तो जब हम upper bound find करेंगे, because we know that for any real number, if and epsilon is greater than 0, if we subtract any positive number from any real number, then L minus epsilon. It means this number is less than this number. L minus epsilon is less than L plus epsilon. So अब हम क्या करेंगे, जब हम upper bound find करेंगे, तो upper bound में we don't know कि x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, xm minus 1 और L plus epsilon इन सब में, because it is a finite set, so इसमें कौन सी टर्म बड़ी हो, because we know that in a finite set we get a maximum as well as minimum number. So अगर इस में हम इसका maximum लें, so we get one number, let it be alpha. इस कोई ना कोई इसमें मैक्सिमम हो सकता है इन सारी टर्म में, उस नंबर को, उसको मे बी x3 अगर ये मैक्सिमम है, सबसे बड़ा नंबर है इस सेट के अंदर, तो इसको हम अल्फा बोल देंगे. अगर ये नहीं है, कहीं x7 मैक्सिमम है, तो हम x7 को अल्फा बोलेंगे. तो लेकिन वी डोंट नो कि कौन सा नंबर इसमें मैक्सिमम. सो let the alpha be the maximum of all the numbers x1, x2, x3 up to xm minus 1 and L plus epsilon, and we take the minimum of x1, x2, x3 and up to so on xm minus 1 and L minus epsilon. इनमें हम minimum number सेलेक्ट करेंगे, let it be beta, हम उसको बीटा बोलते हैं. तो नो व्हाट बी ऑब्जर्व, अब सारा का सारा सीक्वेंस देखो, xn हमारा वो कहाँ लाई कर रहा है. all the terms of the sequence xn are less than alpha or even we can say less than equal to alpha or greater than equal to beta for all n greater than equal to n. Now this alpha become the upper bound and this beta become the lower bound. Upper bound and this become the lower bound. So if we get an upper bound and lower bound for the sequence, then the sequence become bounded sequence. This implies that sequence xn is a bounded sequence. So every convergence sequence is bounded. Yes. Now what we have to prove? converse. The converse need not be true. Need not be true. We take a particular example. Let a sequence xn is equal to minus 1 raised to power n for all n belongs to natural number. So this sequence is bounded sequence. How we can say this sequence is bounded? Because if we construct a sequence, then this sequence become, we put n equal to 1 because domain of the sequence is always natural number. So we put 1, if we get minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, and so on. So in this way, we find that the sequence of the terms are 1 and minus 1 and they repeat, they are repeated. So what is the range of this sequence? Yes, what is the range for this? We have already discussed about this. So range of the sequence is 1 and minus 1, 1 and minus 1, or we can say plus minus 1, and it is finite, so it is bounded. So this range is bounded. If range is bounded, range is finite and so bounded. If range is bounded, then we say the sequence is bounded. So therefore, this implies that sequence xn is bounded. Now we have to show that this sequence is convergent or not. So this sequence xn, so this sequence xn has two limit point 1 and minus 1. How we can show that? Because uh, when we take x1, we get this number. When we take x2, we get this number. When we take x3, then again we get minus 1. x4 we get 1. x5 we get minus 1. x6 we get 1. Continuing this way, we get all the terms x2 and minus 1. x2 and minus 1 we get minus 1, and for all even number of terms, that is x2n, for all n belongs to n, for all n belongs to natural number, for all n belongs to natural number. So for infinite number of terms, because odd numbers are infinite, for infinite number of terms we get minus 1, and for infinite number of even terms we get 1. So if uh, for infinite number of terms we get two limit points, then the sequence cannot be a convergent sequence, because in this case the sequence has two limit points. If the sequence has more than one limit points, then it is not convergent. We have already discussed in previous theorem. So thus, since xn, or we can say thus the sequence xn has more than one limit point, so it is not convergent. It is not convergent. So in this way, we can prove that the sequence xn is not convergent sequence if it is bounded. So a bounded sequence need not be convergent, but every convergent sequence is bounded. So what we get? Every convergent sequence is bounded. Convergent sequence is bounded, but converse Need not be true. Need not be true. Now next part is null sequence. A sequence xn is said to be a sequence xn is said to be a null sequence if it converges to 0. If it converges to 0, that is limit n goes to infinity, xn is equal to 0. Or we can say in term of epsilon definition, given any epsilon greater than 0, there exists a positive integer m, that is m belongs to natural number, such that mod of xn minus 0 is less than epsilon. Or for epsilon greater than 0, there exists m belongs to natural number, such that mod xn minus 0 means mod xn is less than epsilon. If mod xn is less than epsilon for all n greater than equal to, or we can write here m greater than m belongs to n, and for all n greater than equal to m, for all n greater than equal to, mod xn is less than epsilon. It means around 0, if we take a neighborhood of epsilon is greater than 0, then after mth term x1, x2, x3, and so on in this way, we get xm minus 1 term outside the interval, but xmth term and xm1 plus 1 and all other terms greater than xm lies in this around the neighborhood of 0. So if all the terms lies in the interval minus epsilon to epsilon after mth term, then the sequence is said to be a null sequence, or the sequence which converges to 0 is said to be a null sequence. Examples, if xn is equal to 1 upon n for all n belongs to natural number, then it is a null sequence, because uh, this sequence converges to 0 as n goes to infinity. So what is the first term? First term is 1, this is x1. What is the second term? Second term 1 upon 2, this is our x2, and we take a neighborhood around 0. If we fix epsilon greater than 0, take epsilon is equal to 1 upon 10. Epsilon is equal to 1 upon 10. So 0 plus 1 upon 10, it lies here. So it is 0 plus 1 upon 10 means 1 upon 10, and 0 minus 1 upon 10 means minus 1 upon 10. So this is our neighborhood. So now we can observe that x2, x3 is 1 upon 3, and so on. x9 is 1 upon 9. But x10 is lies on the on the boundary of the interval. So x10, this is our x10, that is equal to epsilon. And after the 10th term, what happened? x11, that is 1 upon 11. So 1 upon 11, this is our x11. x11 means that is 1 upon 11. And x12, all the terms greater than 11 lies in the interval, lies close to 0, or we can say the tail of the term, the tail of the sequence after the 10th term lies in the interval -1/10 and 1/10. If the tail of the sequence lies in this interval after some finite number of terms, then we can say the sequence is the convergence sequence. And it, because it lies, it come closer to 0, so this sequence converges to 0. And a sequence which converges to 0 is said to be a null sequence. So this is a null sequence. So after it we can say, if epsilon is equal to 1/10, then for all m belongs to positive integer and positive integer, or m belongs to natural number, there exists for all m greater than equal to, for all n greater than equal to 11, greater than equal to 11, what happen? Xn, or we can say xn is 1/n, mod 1/n is less than epsilon. और epsilon हमने यहाँ फिक्स किया हुआ है, तो we can write is less than 1/10. After 11th and after 11th term, all the terms are satisfy this condition. So it means we can, this is a particular case. We can fix epsilon, and corresponding to this epsilon, we get a positive integer m is equal to 11. So if you take, you can take epsilon is equal to 1/100, then corresponding to this, we get a positive integer m is equal to 101. 101. So after 101 term, the term come closer to 0. So it all depend upon what epsilon you have taken. So that's why we write epsilon greater than 0, however small. If we take epsilon is equal to 1/10,000, then after 10,001th term, all the terms lies in the interval, that, or we can say all the terms come closer to 0. Come closer to 0 after 10,001th term. So it all depends upon what epsilon you have chosen. Now next is non-convergent sequence, or there are some more examples related to null sequence. Xn is equal to 1/n square. This also converges to 0. So this is again a null sequence. Xn is equal to 1/n cube. This also converges to 0. So this is also a null sequence. Or Xn is equal to n plus 1/n cube. N cube. This also a null sequence. So this also converges to 0. Xn is equal to, we can say 1/n ki power k, where k is greater than 0. Any real number greater than 0, then this sequence is also converges to 0. So in this way we can find there are so many examples of null sequence. Now next is non-convergent sequence. Non-convergent sequence, or we can say divergent sequence. A sequence Xn, is said to diverge to plus infinity if for every let it be k be any real number greater than 0, however large. You can take any as large as possible, however large. There exists a positive integer m such that for all k all n greater than equal to m, such that the sequence Xn is greater than equal to k. or we can say this is greater than k, this number k. If such thing happen, then the sequence diverges to plus infinity. How we can think about this geometrically? This is our real sequence, a real line, real number system, and uh, let k be any number greater than 0. Let me fix kth term here. K be any real number greater than 0 on real line, and we construct a sequence xn. Let the x1 lies here, x2 lies here, x3 lies here, which is less than k, xm minus 1 lies here. But what happen after mth term? Mth term of the sequence are greater than k. Xm plus 1 term, all the term greater than m lies to the right of k. If such thing happen, then we can say the sequence diverges to plus infinity, or we can say limit n goes to infinity, xn is equal to plus infinity. So we can take an example. Let xn is equal to n square. Xn is equal to n square for all n belongs to natural number. Now what happened? What is the sequence? If we construct a sequence, so we get x1 is equal to 1 ka square, 2 ka square 4, 3 ka square 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, and so on. Then after 10th term we get 100, 121, and so on. This is the sequence section. So now if we pick any positive real number k, let it be k be equal to k is equal to 100. K is equal to 100. So what happened? Our x1, this is our x1, this is x2, this is x7, this is x10, this is x11, and so on. So x1 that is 1, x2 that is 4, and so on. This is our x10, x10 100. But what after x10th term? x11 is 121. This is greater than k. So after the 11th term, all the terms are greater than k. So if we are not able to find the upper bound of the sequence, then the sequence is said to be diverges to plus infinity, or we can say the sequence is not bounded above. In the same way that we have already discussed about the sequence which is not bounded above, now we use the same concept in the here about that sequence diverges to infinity means the sequence which is not bounded above. So it depends upon k. If we choose if we take k is equal to let it be 10,000, k is equal to 10,000, then what happened? This is nothing but this is x100. So after 100 term, what happened? What x101 lies here, which is greater than k, and all the terms greater than 101 are lies here. Now let us take k is equal to as large as possible. K is equal to 10 crore, 10 crore, and so on. So what happened? After some we get corresponding to this k, we get a number which from the sequence that this some number m which is greater than 10 crore. So it means after the m and mth number, all the numbers are lies to the right of k. It means the sequence is not bounded about. If we get at least one term of the sequence which lies to the right of k, then the sequence is not bounded. So there are infinite number of terms which lies to the right of k. It means this sequence diverges to infinity. So how we can prove this? That xn is greater than k. What xn means? N square is greater than k. So n is greater than, because k is positive number, so n is greater than under root k. So if we take, how we can, if we take m is equal to this is equal to m. So what happen if we take k is equal to 10,000? तो हमें m क्या मिलेगा? m is equal to under root k. Under root k means 10,000 का under root, that is 100. तो after 100th term, 100th term के बाद क्या होगा? All the terms lies to the right of k. K के right में, or we can say all the terms are greater than k. So this sequence is not or we can say this sequence is diverges sequence, and it diverges to plus infinity. We can say that this sequence is not bounded. Now next is oscillatory sequence. Oscillatory sequence. A sequence xn is said to be an oscillatory sequence if it is neither convergent nor divergent. So for example, or second point, then after that we will discuss. First point, a sequence, if an oscillatory sequence is bounded, if an oscillatory sequence is bounded, then it is said to be oscillate finitely. It is said to be oscillate finitely. Oscillate finitely. Second, if an oscillatory sequence is not bounded, if an oscillatory sequence is not bounded, then it is said to be oscillate infinitely. For example, a sequence xn is equal to -1 की power n, that is equal to -1, 1, -1. So we write range of the sequence, that is -1, 1. It is bounded sequence, but it is oscillatory sequence because it oscillate. For even number of term we get 1, and odd number of term we get -1. So this is an oscillatory sequence because it is bounded, so it oscillate finitely. But if we take xn is equal to -1 की power n into n, then this sequence we get this sequence -1, 2, -3, 4, -5, 6, -7, 8, and so on. So this sequence is not a finite sequence. So and it oscillate. So this sequence is said to be oscillate infinitely. So in this way we have discussed null sequence, non-convergent sequence, and oscillatory sequence. So we will discuss about algebra of sequence and some theorems based on algebra of limits in our next lecture. Thank you. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Stay.